Today we're going to start on one of two Midland 77805 UK. So that's the one with the 9 on the rotary channel selector, because the DUK is the one that doesn't have the 9 on the channel selector, because the channel selector is just a rotary encoder, so it starts off on 9. This is the one that starts off on whichever channel you've parked it on, and in my opinion is therefore the better of the two sets. Now then, all we need to do is see how deaf it is, because I haven't got the test set even switched on yet, because that's what the customer is complaining of. So we'll plug that into the test set. Hopefully, this mic's not labelled. I'm hoping, with it being a DIN on the end, that it's the right mic. But it could be an unlabelled Maxcom mic, and it could be an unlabelled realistic mic, and it could be an unlabelled LCL economy mic, or it could be the DNT one. So I could still have to make a mic up, or find one of our own out of stock. So we need to connect the external speaker, because if we're not using the speaker mic, then we'll need these sets, being a porta pack, don't have a speaker inside them. So we'll put the power supply on, and we know the radio isn't going to blow up or anything, because it's a customer who is a trade customer, so we can just, he says it's deaf. Now these sets can have dry joints. So there we are, it's come on channel 11, we'll just pop that on channel 20. That doesn't sound right. And let's see what happens when we plug the mic in. Well, it keys up. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay, so that's the right mic, so I must label that one. So let's see how deaf it is. I'll tell you what, we'll get a sheet of paper and we'll write down these parameters on this one. Church services for Sunday. Well, I think for Sunday, for September, I think we've done with September. So it's Nigel 77805 UK, and this is 704-00115. So let's have a look at this. We'll put picture in picture on. See how many watts it's doing. So at 13.8 volts, it's doing 3.1 watts. Transmit 1 2. And we're back to needing to adjust this again. 1.0. We've got about 2. It's 2 kilohertz there. So let's look at roughly what the frequency is. Oh, I'm on channel 31. No wonder I'm not getting anywhere. And no wonder I had to retune the test set. So 2779106. But the test set's only just been switched on this second. That's not off frequency anyway. Should be 79125, but it's nearly there. Now then, here's the biggie. Let's see if it's as deaf as he thinks it is. And he does have a signal generator, so he'll know. leave it slightly low because it's reading slightly low. So, see where we are. Okay, so if we look at the attenuator controls, I won't bother looking at the sign on the meter. That's 100 microvolts, which should be an S9. That's 3. That just isn't a normal FM noise, so something is wrong. So it could be something faulty, it could just be the tuning. So instead of going through the normal tune-up procedure, see if we can sort this receive problem out. So I'm going to put this oscilloscope on. We'll put that S9 signal on and see whether it's simply the detector which is out. Just put a bit more volume on. So we'll see whether we've got the peak of the receive here. Yeah, we have. We'll go to the synad meter, just see if we can quickly tune it up. Oh, that's very, very sensitive to not being right. Well, as far as I can see, it sounds like the 10.695 isn't right. So I'm going to get our other signal generator out, the cheap Chinese one, which we use. I'm just going to turn the tone off, the other signal generator. So we've still got the signal generator on, but not doing its musical 1 kilohertz tone. Let's plug this in. Switch it on. It's picking that up all right. Let's try. Though it's actually out, isn't it? So the radio is receiving at 27,79052. But I'm sure it suddenly won't. If I turn this off, I'm sure it won't suddenly spring to perfect working order. No, it still sounds wrong, just as I thought it would. Let's see if the 455 is the one that's problematic. (277098) on that. So both the IFs are responding. Well, I think the easiest thing to do before we start changing parts and getting the circuit diagram out is quite simply to start looking for dry joints, because these sets can get dry joints. Not as bad as the 099 or the 095, but they nevertheless can get dry joints. Usually they're under the VCO, under the screening can, but in this case I don't think that is a problem. Right, I'll pause the video and have a good look round. So the first thing I've come across is it was sounding a bit like a shortwave radio. Well, it is a shortwave radio, but you know what I mean. So if we turn the Squelch, if we turn the signal generator off, it's now not sounding like a shortwave radio. It's a normal FM hiss, and you've got a duff filter here, so that's changed. So ceramic filter, CFU 455 HT, but it's still not right. It isn't as sensitive as it should be. To put the signal generator back on, 1 microvolt for 10 dB synode, which isn't good enough. And much under 0.5, we're not going to hear it. So we're going to have a look round here. I'll probably do that tomorrow because we've run out of time today. So we'll see you tomorrow. I'm actually doing a bit of mix and match here. Just move the bench light a bit. This is a second set from the same customer. Here's the first one. I left this on the bench overnight, and when I came to it the next day, it's only selecting X number of channels, so it seems to have got worse. But I did change the 455 filter, which improved the problem with the receive, but didn't cure it. It's still deaf. So this has come in, same kind of set, similar problem, deaf on receive, and changing the 10.7 filter brought a significant improvement, but still not good enough. I got receive round about, what should we say, about 1.5 microvolts for 12 decibel synode. And in this one, changing the 455 filter has brought the receive to full operation, something like 0.65 microvolts. Excellent. So I then move on to the other fault on this set, which is a display fault. Now this has had snags in the past, it's been linked out. I've just spent an awful lot of time desoldering with solder braid to get the last drop of solder so we don't rip these pretty rubbishy tracks off. See, that one's lifting for a start. There's a short circuit on this display. The only trouble is, when I've gone through this with a fine tooth comb and then put the board back together, this is either going to work or it's not going to work. I can't change that display, can I? I don't even know what it is. 333G. Well, the G is going to be for green. So what we're going to do at the moment is we're going to get the isopropyl alcohol and carefully clean. See if we can see where the short is. There's 2 bars out, but I think it's because of a short rather than an open circuit display. We're going to brush it in this direction so we don't damage the tracks any more than they are. Hopefully I'll be able to see what's not right. Well, that wire's dropped off. I'm glad we've got another set too. I'll tell you what, I'll go unsolder the final remaining wire and drop the board on the floor. So we've got a rather thick wire. It looks like there should be something there. I don't know whether it's normally done on this side. Anyway, we're going to look at this with a fine-tooth comb and just see whether I can find any shorts. So it's actually been 8 days on the bench, this radio, and of course that means nothing else gets done. As you know, because of building work here, we've got no other benches set up other than Mr. Chippie's room where we can't really do radios. So what Mr. Chippie has done, the customer's sending a scrap set for the display on the other one. This is the one with the very dodgy receive. Mr. Chippie has removed the wax out of the VCO coil. VCO coil? Out of the VCO compartment, shall we say. I'm going to zoom in on this because it's not often we see the VCO department with no clothes on. And it's burst into life. Now I'd set the coil somewhere near using either the 10.695 or the 455. So we'll just trim those now. So we want maximum recovered audio because it's as quiet as a mouse. But we haven't changed any components. And it's burst into life. So I'll just run through these. We're at... That's a lousy 100 microvolts at the moment. So still may not be getting anywhere. I'll put the other camera on, just it's not even switched on. No, it's not connected up. The other camera's not connected up, so we'll have to do without that at the moment. Now that we're 10 microvolts, which is about where we started. You can see I changed the two filters and it stopped working. We're now at 1 microvolt, so it's working. So both the filters were faulty in this, both the filters were faulty in the other set. Clearly these have been mega dropped, and this has had other snags as well. It's had some channels out. We've had to change the synthesizer. I changed the LC7337 as a matter of course as part of the diagnosis, seeing as the IFs were working and I'd still got no receive. So some channels were missing, hence changing that. And one of those channels, I forgot which ones where it was, but it was one up. So we'll just get this aligned. Don't think I altered the front end one. So now just going to go back and check that the discriminator or detector's right. Yeah, that's not altered at all. So let's see what sensitivity we've now got. We've got now about 0.9 microvolts. So it's not the most sensitive cookie in the pot, but it's working fine. And the proof of the pudding will be on a scratchy corner test. It's so long since I did this, I need to verify that I actually did the transmit. So these sets work without the mic plugged in. So I'll just check it's still transmitting. It is. Wallow. Yeah, everything's... So that's all set. So we're going to have the meter to set. Or we probably did that. I'll just check. You switch to low power. And then it should be 1 bar. Yep. And then on receive, which obviously we haven't done, S9 on the signal generator. That's now S9. And that should be at S9, which it isn't. So is it that one? I just can't remember. I don't want to upset where I'd already got. Yeah, it doesn't give many details, this service manual. It doesn't give any tune-up procedure, and I suspect it's part of a service manual rather than the full works. So looking here, this goes to the... Oh, good grief, I've still got it on massive. So looking here, that's the TL489, is it? Which is the bar grav driver. So the preset RV102 comes from the receive department here. So in that case, that's going to be the one. So 102. If I can't see it on the board, I can. It's that. It is the one I thought it was. So we now just need to set that to its 9. So moving the signal generator up, I get plus 30. and down we get, and they are individually addressable, unlike some sets where it's a bit of a cheat. So I'm going to wait for the signal generator to just be on another few minutes. Just need to check we're on frequency, because the machine's only been on for the duration I've been recording this. So I'm doing 27.79110, so chances are it's going to be spot on when it warms up. I'll put the bottom lid on. So we've done nothing, but removing the wax has cleared the fault. So is that because of heat from the heat gun which Chippie uses? We've got a heat gun from Aldi. No, it was Lidl. Battery operated heat gun. I'm just going to check it's... I did check the VCO lock before, but I'm just going to check it transmits on channel 40 and channel 1. No, it's reluctant on channel 1. I'll have to put my soldering on and melt the wax a bit in the core there. Hang on, I'll put that lid on temporarily. So to have 3 faults, one of which occurred when it was here, which is the VCO not doing anything. Mind you, things happen in the post, don't they? I remember when I was in the television business, I bought a number of broken ex-rental televisions from Tritel Northern at Bradford, and they're all guaranteed not working. And when I got them back to the workshop, one was working and I couldn't fault it. You know, we just went through a voltages procedure and never had to do anything to it. You know, so. And then conversely, you know, you buy stuff that is working, and by the time you've rattled it in your estate car home, it isn't working anymore. So this customer has lent me an instruction book for the Midland 76900, which I'll be photocopying, or shall I say scanning. So it's very, very kind of him. You know, it really is fantastic. Let's see if we've got enough heat on this soldering iron to be able to not melt the sides of the core, but enough to turn it. Yeah. So straight away it's now locked on channel 1. And go back to channel 40. It's locking perfectly, so I think we're there. So this set is going to get, as I say, we're going to repeatedly, that's 0.3 of a microvolt, hear it down to about 0.25. So we'll put the other lid on, we'll put the aerial on, and this will be the first one we do. I'm waiting for his scrap set. I'm not going to fill that with wax. Theoretically it'll be microphonic without. But of course, I'm gonna hold on to this set for at least another 5 days, and we're going to see whether the malfunction has disappeared, because it can just be the wax which has caused the problem. Shall I put all 4 screws in? Yeah, that's going to then. No, I'm not, because I need to just pop it on frequency. So I'll just put we'll just put 1 screw in to stop it falling apart. So let's go put the aerial in, and instead of the instrument speaker, we'll put the PA speaker which is on the wall, which is an SW711. Just got caught around my spectrum analyzer, so. Ooh. There we go. I'm going to have to check the squelch as well. I never did that, did I? Eight days on the bench is about a record. But it just stops other repairs getting done, you see. Well, I've gone and put the test set on, haven't I, instead of the aerial. So what we'll now do, we'll just check the squelch. So I'm going to put the squelch to full on the radio, and now we'll turn up the signal generator. No, it wants backing off a bit. It's a bit too vicious. So there I was telling you I was going to have to do it later, and I'm taking the wrong screw out now. Must be those fish fingers I had for tea. What do you reckon? Right, so we'll back the squelch off. This is something else I'm going to have to look up in the manual. Squelch preset. So looking here once again, I'll move that bench light now. So we know the squelch is going to be somewhere around here. There's the squelch control. So its preset is there. That looks like RV104. Trouble is, it just isn't a good enough copy, this, to read what's what, and this is frustrating. I'm going to end up having to look at my notes from a previous job. One of these is deviation, the other one's squelch. Let's just see where we are with the deviation. Wallow. 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 Get this right eventually. Wallow. No. Wallow. That's it. So this is going to be the squelch. Well, that's at minimum. It's still a bit higher than I would like. So it was that one. Looks like RV508, but on the circuit diagram it didn't look like that at all. So let's see where it is. It is higher than I'd like. It is about 1 millivolt on full squelch, which isn't ideal, but it does at least open at some point. So we'll now just check it at the minimum setting. So we'll turn the signal generator to standby and set the threshold. and see when it comes in. So with the signal generator now parked at 0.3 of a microvolt, just check that again. We'll switch the signal generator on. It's straight in. It's coming in at 0.65 of a microvolt, leaving it about 0.45 of a microvolt. So there we go. So that is now set. So once again, we'll put the lid on it. With one screw. We'll put it on the aerial, and then we'll do a scratchy corner test later on. Right, this time I'll unplug the test equipment and actually plug the aerial in. Right, here goes. So remember, there's no internal speaker on this. You normally have a speaker mic, but we're using a standard mic. So I've got it into the external speaker. It's about 6:30 in the evening. Bit of something there. 19 a Roger. Somebody wanted one of those daft echoes out there. Anyway, we'll do a scratchy corner test in a bit, and I'll get the bench dog support thing. Oh, I've dropped all the knackered capacitor out of the pot. Had a bench avalanche on the shelf above. It's the there we go. So once this display comes, we'll be able to take the other one off the bench. I don't think that'll be long coming. It'll probably come tomorrow. I've got a rough-looking Harrier CB. I bought a Moonraker Minor. I bought a Barracuda GT868, and we have got some other sets which have come in. Right, so I'll say 73s, and we'll see you on the air test, which we'll probably do in about half an hour's time. Thanks for watching the rather long drawn out Midland 77805 UK with 3 faults.